have today Miss April Thomas. She's a
Okay.
composer, writer. She's going to be chopping it up with us.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's chop it.
It's blues, it's pop, and hop.
And he doesn't sound like he used to sound.
And yes, rock and roll is okay.
He was Motown. I mean, come on, man. That was it. Motown dominated. Chopping it up on the music. Influences, players, innovations, songs, and we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it moving.
Where you had self-contained bands.
What's up, Mark J?
Hey, man. I'm cool. I'm chilling, you know.
Yeah, feeling like Macmillan.
That's it, brother. I
All
heard
right.
you got some trimmers out there. I heard you had some
man.
trimmers out there.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. I tell you, man, when I start to feel that little rocket and rolling, I was like, oh, man, is that the big one or the little one? And luckily, it ended up being a small one, a tiny one. I think the epicenter was like in Highland Park or Pasadena area. I think it was like a 4.7. That was on Sunday. So luckily, we all survived, and you know, it's all good. You know, it's all good. But you know what? Every time I come across like an earthquake or hear about an earthquake, experience an earthquake, you know what I think about?
What, man?
Instantly, my mind goes to, you know who it goes to. you know who it goes to, right? Larry Graham, earthquake, right? Right. Yeah, I always hear that song like, oh, smokes, is that going to happen right now? So I always hear that tune. It just comes to me immediately. Hats off to Larry Graham out there.
Yeah, well, I'm glad everybody's okay out there, man, because you know, when I hear the tremors, you know, I'm concerned. I get concerned about my peoples out there, you know.
Absolutely. Hey, what is that? What's that about? I see that you're not playing.
No.
What's that I hear? I hear a little some keys in the background. Are you playing something on the playback or something or what?
No, we got, you know.
Wait a minute. wait. Who do we have on the chopping block today, my brother?
Well, today we have a special guest, Miss April Thomas. And she's originally from Boston. And she studied at Berklee School of Music. Okay, now she's a writer, she's a singer, composer, arranger. Okay, and she has some very good original songs. Okay, and April.
Yes.
How we doing today?
We're doing well.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
Welcome to the show, April. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you again for having me.
So, how's it been going? I know we spoke a few days ago.
Right. Yep. I'm in the midst of getting ready for a concert that I'm giving this weekend, so I'm just prepping for that. So it's great to be here to take a little break from that and just to talk music. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, when we spoke, you kind of took me through your background there. So we'd like to give the audience a little bit of your background, your early childhood, how you kind of got interested in music.
Okay.
And a little bit forward as well.
Sure. I think for me, the first kind of unconscious exposure to music was just through my mother. When I was born, you have how parents have baby books that keep your lock of hair, all that type of stuff. She had written in the notes about me that she said she has long fingers, maybe a concert pianist. And so looking back at that, you know, in hindsight, you're just like, wow, how God just drops little hints here and there, you know, about who you are, at least aspects of who you are.
Right.
So after that, my parents got me a little piano, like a little upright brown wooden piano, tiny. I mean, like it would come up to your knees as a kid or as an adult. So I played on that for a little bit. And then when I was 7, in second grade, that's when I started taking piano lessons.
Okay.
My first teacher was Miss Theodora F. James. She was 80 years old. She was a Spelman College grad. And she taught me piano lessons, taught me the foundations. And my mother would take me to lessons. Of course, my mother was also like in law school. She was busy working, etc.
I hear
So
you.
my mother would come in and fall asleep, and my teacher would wrap my mother's fingers with the baton just to keep her awake. So she was no
Wow.
joke, but she was like, I love Miss James, you
Now
know.
you usually hear about getting tapped on your hands, that music teachers or piano teachers wrapping the student on
Right.
their hand, not the parent. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's hardcore.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, a friend of mine, been working with him for the last 5 or 6 years now here. Michael Redmond, his father's Edgar Redmond. He taught me a lot of the arranging and orchestration. And Mike kind of got turned off from music because when he was taking the piano lessons, his father had
Stick.
the
Yeah, the
parent
rod,
had, and
right?
he said he quit. He said he quit because of that and
Yeah.
got into sports.
Well,
So, but
fortunately, my
I'm
teacher
glad.
didn't do it to me, so she did it
Oh,
to my mother.
okay. So you must have been a good student then.
I was trying. I was trying.
Wow, that's
So,
awesome.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
an awesome story.
And so with Miss James, we went to the same church too. So with her, that's where I learned my first hymns, how to play the first hymns, what a friend we have in Jesus.
Oh, okay.
And then the foundations. After Miss James retired at 85, when she retired, of course, as a fourth grader, I saw, well, she's quitting. If she can quit, I can quit. And my parents were like, no, no, that's not how it works. And so they got me a new teacher. And Miss James had an upright piano. This new teacher had a grand piano. And once I played the grand piano and I started learning like true classical music, Miss James used John Thompson, introductory programs that modify a lot of the classical music. But this was really, my first piece was a either something like Mozart or something like that. But when I first started playing, that was it. My parents didn't have to worry about me wanting to quit or anything.
That's great. That's
That
Yeah.
is
great.
awesome.
That's
That,
great.
that's I tell you, you said, okay, this is my exit here. My first instructor is retiring, so let me get the heck out of here. And your mom and dad said, not so fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm really
Congratulations
grateful.
to your parents.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, because I know I've met so many people who are like, oh, I wish I hadn't quit when I was a kid. But,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, I mean, I almost became one of those that quit. But again, my parents saved the day.
It's
And
funny
then-
you mentioned something about when you were mentioning about your mom looking at your fingers and the length of your fingers and your hands and thinking, oh, she's going to be a concert pianist, right? When people find out that I'm a musician, they try to guess what I play. They look at my hands and they kind of try to suggest the same thing. And
Ah,
I'm a bass player.
okay.
But the first thing they always say is keyboards,
Yeah.
or piano, because they say, "Oh, your fingers are kind of refined and long, And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I'm a bass player at heart." So that's interesting. That's it that you mentioned that and how people take those kind of physical hints
Mm-hmm.
and relate it to music. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
One thing though, I can say this. I know most pianists have long fingers. My mom had long fingers. I met Chick Corea. I never met Herbie, but if you look at Herbie's hands, he has small hands. And Chick is small, and he's not tall,
In stature, yeah.
but his fingers are humongous. Okay,
Really?
his fingers are humongous. Patrice Rushen, they call her baby fingers. She got small hands, but I don't know how she plays. She's classically trained.
Right.
Yeah,
She
used
gets
to come
that
by the
spread.
house.
Yeah, how she gets
So
that
somehow
spread.
she could play the Rachmaninoff.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
she could play that stuff. She's great, man. She's like the matriarch of the music right now. I say of all the music. That's
Well, I tell you,
favorite artist.
funny story about physicality, and this is non-music comparison, but the reason Bruce Lee had such an advantage over a lot of his competitors was because he was only 5'7", 5'6", or 5'7", but he had the arm length of like a 6-footer.
Wow.
And combined with his speed, people always kind of misjudged his reach and they're thinking they stand back a certain distance, he won't be able to tag them. But with that extra 2.5 inches that he had, that's what part of his success and defeating a lot of his competitors. So a little note there off music, but it's all
Yeah.
relative to body type. Who are some of your April? Who are some of your the people that inspired you, and the people that you kind of helped guide you on your musical path?
Right. Well, I mentioned Miss James. That was early. I had my band instructor in high school, middle school, really. He was a jazz saxophone player. They hired him for the school. We did wind ensemble. They started a jazz band, and that's when I started playing jazz piano. And I do quotes because I'm coming from classical to jazz and not really playing by ear and reading music as opposed to just kind of let me pull it out the air and put it out there. It was a very big challenge for me. So he gave me some songs like Errol Garner's, like Errol's Bounce. That's one of my favorite songs. A lot of those old classical jazz pieces. So he's the one who introduced me to all of that. And he would also initially start writing out my solos for me just to get me started to play, jazz. And so I would say he was definitely a significant. His name was Mr. Wimmer, Stutz Wimmer. He
Wow.
was an influence. And then once I got into high school, college, I had an instructor, Paul Behringer, took lessons from him. But probably one of the biggest influences outside of my college is a gentleman by the name of George Russell Jr. And he's not the George Russell with the 12 tone and all that, but this is,
Oh, okay.
yeah, this is
Okay.
George Russell. He's from Pittsburgh, but he's an instructor now and also chair of the harmony department. I think something along those lines. He's in the administration, but he also teaches still. But
Okay.
when I graduated from college, I met him and he gave me instructions. He supported me just like with insight, direction. He was a minister of music at a local church. That's where I started playing in the church, just learning how to play in more contemporary worship. My church was more, that I grew up in was traditional Baptist. You have the organ, you got hymns. The church I started going to, which is more contemporary, you get the worship band, that type of thing. So definitely George, I met George in 95 and we're still friends, best friends today. So it's been
That's great.
a
That's
long
great.
time. But I'd say he definitely was a great influence.
Wow. So it sounds like you got your major influence from those that took you under their wing, that actually were like mentors.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So
That's
that was,
interesting.
very helpful. There's things that I learned, things that I'm still learning, from
It's a
whether it be
journey.
about gigging or just, like I said, playing in a worship a setting, playing with other musicians, just practicing, all that type of stuff. So just the whole thing, they were all
Let
critical.
me ask you this, April,
Mm,
and this is for the benefit of those viewers who are or who do play
Mhm.
more by ear
Okay.
and who may not be that technically trained,
Right.
uh, and just trying to find what's if the dynamics are somewhat similar with that transition from being able to look at a piece of written music and being able to play it versus hearing something a few times, watching someone play something a few times, and then picking it up.
Right.
What's the what's the real struggle from that from one to the other? What is the real struggle? Is it a brain function? Is it what some people may refer to as, and I'm not saying this about you, but is it laziness?
Mm.
Is it just a foreign concept? What would you call it? What was your experience in that week with that?
My experience, I think part of it for me, it was just unfamiliarity. Though I obviously had heard jazz before, it's another thing to play it. I mean, it's learning another language. The music itself is a language, but then there's different languages within that language. In terms of the inflections, etc. Of how you articulate and use the words, so to speak, or notes in this case. I think one is familiarity. I think two, there's you don't want to make a mistake. So you are very hesitant to try something. It's you're totally stepping out, and it's like jumping in the deep end, pretty much, you know. But yes, you don't want to make a mistake. And then three, I think another thing could just be not being able to make the connections, see the similarities between the two. Because I'm on my concert, I'm playing a piece by Chopin, a nocturne in F minor, and even though I could hear it back when I was practicing, and I incorporated a part of that into a jazz piece that I did, it wasn't until I'm like going back to this piece, trying to learn it, that I can see, oh, this chord, this section that I keep missing is just a downward step progression. You start to make connections within the music that transcend the style of music, and it's really just getting to the music itself. Like, how does the music move up and down? How is it interconnected? And when you can start to make those connections, you start to see it's not that different. There's some chords that Chopin did that I was like, I would easily use those in a jazz piece, just because
I tell people, if you really want to, you know, the keyboard players that I kind of listen to, well, Dwayne knows them, but you know, I tell a lot of people now, and I'm going back because I've never played like a Chopin piece. I played some other classical because I was intimidated. But as you get older, like my aunt used to say, well, because she plays, if you put your hand where you don't see all those notes, I mean, the timing of the notes, they're just blackheads, you know what I'm saying? So if you just go slow and then you just pick up the speed, but composers like that, and he was primarily, I started to get a little bit off track here, but he gives that technique, him and Franz Liszt. To me, they give the expression. I think Mozart really started it, but those two, Franz Liszt and Chopin, I mean, they were actually jamming buddies, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I wonder what their jam sessions were like.
Yeah.
But it's stated that he makes long statements. His statements are long. I love those nocturnes. I love them.
Right.
You know, they're long, and if you can, like you said, if you can just grasp that, it just comes. I don't know how it happens. It just happens, and you feel it. This thing, those are improvisations.
Yeah.
Of those composers. And so, but they left it for us, so we can study it and may take it further, or we can develop our technique of maybe giving a longer statement to whom we are playing for.
Right.
You know, it's Chick does that all the time. I mean, he makes long statements. I love him for that. You know, we're doing an episode on Chick, and that's one of the things that I admired about him and his playing. And he's gotten better from the early Return to Forever time to the time he passed. I mean, he was still strong. I don't know if you guys ever heard his last thing that he did was Stevie Wonder tune, Overjoyed.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
You're gonna be like, wow.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I like to play one of April's tunes. We can
Okay.
check one of her tunes out, and that tune is "Trust in the Lord." It's an instrumental. It's nice, and we're gonna check that out right now, and then we'll come back.
All right.
Let's check it out. So we just gonna
April Thomas, Trust in the Lord.
trust.
Here
in
we
the
go.
Lord. Here we go. Nice
Wow,
trio.
April.
Trio.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yes.
that. Very
Yes.
nice.
Yes. So
Very nice.
let's see here. So yeah, let's keep discussing about your music a little bit more
Okay.
now. You know how you got into composing and your first works.
Composing. Wow. I think composing. I remember as a child trying to songs like the Beatles, "Let It Be," that
Okay.
song, and just playing them on the keyboard, like a little Casio keyboard. I remember buying sheet music, going into the local music store when they sold sheet music in the stores, that type of thing. So, and I would take their songs and try and just kind of like add a little bit of something different, do my own arranging. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. And like in fourth grade, we were learning the states. And so we did a performance, and I did the song "My Country 'Tis of Thee," but in a rock version. It was real
play it.
simple, but again, just it
How
was
old,
play a little bit of
were
it?
you? How old
fourth
were you then?
grade.
Wow.
Fourth grade, yeah. And I think
Do you-
somehow they all knew I played the piano, so that I played the song, and it worked out well. I mean, it was just a
Wow.
little.
You remember any of it?
Yeah, let's see. It was really simple.
Oh, that was cool though. That
I
was
bet that
cool.
was
That was cool.
adorable. I bet you were
Yeah.
adorable.
So I think
Awesome.
it started then, and I remember in seventh grade, I wanted to write a song because I knew about royalties in seventh grade, and I was like, if I could write that one song, I could get royalties and I would be set. So I bought a book. I was trying, but it just songs weren't coming to me like in terms with lyrics. But I did start writing just instrumental pieces, and I'll say pieces, just snippets. So my parents got me a computer so I could record it, all that type of stuff. And by the time I got to college, I had been writing, and I played for the jazz band there, and we started playing some of my originals there.
Oh,
When I
great.
was in college, I was I was Japanese studies and economic major.
Japanese studies.
But when I graduated, they gave me the composition award for music. So
Oh.
I don't know, that was the biggest surprise ever because
Wow.
I took maybe a couple classes in the music department, but really all of my stuff was through the jazz program. And it was just a band, outside. It wasn't academic credit or anything.
Wow.
So that was,
Wow.
I saw that as just a sign that, okay,
Yeah.
the composing is definitely, I think, my strong suit.
Wow.
And at the time, I was a junior.
You couldn't run from it. You
No,
couldn't
no.
run from it.
People
No,
know.
I
yeah.
tried to though. I did
Yeah.
because I was going to go to law school. My mother was a lawyer because I was interested in the law. But my junior year is when I basically had this spiritual encounter. I got saved, and I wrote a song then. I wrote my first song that I wrote was a worship song, just about that, just coming to a new understanding of who God is, etc. So I wrote about a couple songs then. And that's when I decided if I could pursue anything, what would it be? It'd be music. And so I told my parents, who both, my dad had a PhD in business, my mother was a lawyer. Yeah, I'm not going to law school. I'm going to study music.
I'm sure that was. I'm sure that was kind of like a raised eyebrow
Right.
or two there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's that's something. That is
It is rough.
quite
It
a
is
story. And
rough.
obviously, your family background, you come from high achieving parents,
Yes.
and I'm sure their demands were in full effect and expected a lot out of you.
Let's hear another tune. And this tune, it's going to be all blues. This is a real different arrangement now.
Ah,
It's
so we
cool.
went from praise, worship, gospel to now
To all-
blues.
to all
Oh,
blues.
oh,
Miles Davis tune, my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, my
Okay,
favorite.
let me get set for this. I gotta.
Okay.
All right, I gotta get set for this one.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know if this is cool, man.
All right.
I never heard a version like this. I told her, I said, I go crazy sometimes, but this is cool crazy.
All right. Let's
Ready.
take a listen. Let's take a
Okay,
listen.
let's check it out. It's already different. I can hear it right now. It's cool. Yep. Keep going. Real
be mistaken as a classical player. You wouldn't. I mean, there's no clue of that in this piece.
Well, it kind of is.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Huh.
Because technically, it's technically there.
Now, if I would watch her play it, it would be a little bit more evident. But just listening to it, it doesn't come across that way. Interesting.
Some different stuff. She does some different stuff.
Very nice.
Good.
Wow, we're back with April Thomas. Wow, awesome piece.
Thank you.
Nice. Wow, man. I can listen to that over and over all day.
Yeah.
Can we put that on repeat?
I'll send it to you.
All right, very
I'll
nice.
send it to you.
Very nice. April, what
Yeah.
do you have coming up in your schedule that you want the audience to know about?
Right, I'm having a porch concert at my house on Saturday from 1 to 2:30. And we recently expanded the front porch, and it's just a beautiful space, but also along in the spiritual sense, I feel like it's a connector, a hub. And so the concert serves a couple purposes. One, just kind of a reconnecting for me back to music, because in 2013, my father passed. I moved to Atlanta to run his business. And so I've been doing that, and music has been on the side. But just doing this concert is kind of like a reconnecting, a celebration of what was and what has been, but also looking forward to what will be. And then I want to also create space for people to connect to that for themselves. So not just to hear about my story, but to try and have conversation with the audience and connect. So it's not just me giving, but them also receiving and giving to each other.
Wow. Well, with the time that we have left there, April, that's awesome. And I would like the listeners to be able to connect with you.
Right now, for the concert, the best place to go is on Eventbrite. That's where the registration link is. And search for Porch Concert. And then you can also, for right now, you can email to get more information. It's projectendowed@gmail.com. And that's the best way to get information at the moment.
Well, April, thank you for being on our show today. We're about to wrap it up with another episode of Chop It Up.
All we want to do is what?
Is chop it up. I have one request.
Okay.
That you can play us out.
Oh, only one?
Only one, man.
We can't do this. We can't do this all day till the cows come home.
You gotta buy a ticket. You gotta buy a ticket to the show, bro.
All right, good deal. We'll pull out my credit card right now. Okay, gotcha.
Let It Rain by April Thomas. All right.
In the twilight of this dawning day, as you lead us from morning to noon, may we leave flesh behind, by your spirit live. Let it rain. Let it rain. Morning dew rains down our daily bread. By your right hand we are fully fed. We surrender our wills to receive from you. Let it rain. You're doing a new thing in us, though we don't always understand. By faith we feast on your bread divine, that has yet to be seen in the earth. We are transformed within by your word, and your glory throughout will
April Thomas this Saturday, August
Bravo.
17th,
Thank you.
1:30. Get your tickets now. Up and coming.
NOW.
Up and coming. Well, not up and coming. She's already here.
She's already here and live on
already here.
Memorex, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
April. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Please remember to continue to watch us, like us, comment, subscribe, all of the above. We love your comments, everybody, so please keep them coming.
All we want to do is
what?
pop it up.